The Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development, and the Economic Development Board have decided to jointly organize this workshop on building resilience through SMEs and entrepreneurship, to discuss the different schemes and opportunities available already and to find better solutions for the future. As Dr. the Honorable Renganaden Padiechi mentioned earlier during his speech, SMEs are of crucial importance for the advancement of a country. Let's start with our first presentation of the day. He is currently the CEO of SME Mauritius and has spent a major part of his career at senior management positions in the private sector, both locally and abroad. His experience spans operations, marketing, logistics, strategy development, business restructuring, and international business, among many other skills. I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Rampersad, CEO of SME Mauritius Ltd, for his presentation on supporting and mentoring SMEs. I kindly remind all our speakers today that they have a maximum of 8 minutes for their presentation. Sous vos applaudissements, bien sûr, mesdames et messieurs, Monsieur Rampersad.
Merci beaucoup. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, colleagues from support institutions and doing what we do best, namely supporting SMEs, good morning. I wish to have a very special word of thanks to the EDB and the Ministry of Finance for having organized this session in order to give us the opportunity to discuss problems that we may have been facing or issues that we may be having, and more importantly, how the schemes that are currently in place are helping SMEs in Mauritius. The resilience of an economy, as you would imagine, is the sum total, the aggregate of the resilience of its constituent parts. And SMEs being such an important part of our economy, it's quite normal that developing resilience in SMEs would definitely help in the resilience of the Mauritian economy. We have right now 5 major schemes that we introduced. In fact, it was developed just before the COVID period, but it became very handy going ahead after the COVID situation in order to help SMEs to breathe again and to reignite their operations. So the first one, we started with the Internal Capability Development Scheme, which looks at advisory support on any one activity of the value chain, operations and process engineering, productivity improvement, mentoring, hand-holding, barcodes, registration of trademarks, patents, intellectual property, and technical training. This scheme is specifically meant, as it rightly says, to be interventions along your value chain, starting with procurement, through to operations or manufacturing, logistics, inbound and outbound, marketing, sales, customer relationship, HR, finance, any one of those functions that make up your value chain. And it is meant to improve the internal resilience of SMEs. There are grants that are attached to it. There is a lot of work that is attached to it. And there is the administrative part before we come to the financing part. But what I can assure you that your files move quite quickly, and we usually take approximately 3 weeks to deliver on our promises. The second one is the Technology and Innovation Scheme. We have preceded some of our colleagues in establishing this, but I'm sure that going forward, this scheme will be one of the key constituents of the support that we give to SMEs. It is about improving 2 things, your visibility or whatever you may be having as technology in order to support you in your production, in your manufacturing, in the offer of your services. We have the online visibility and social media integration and advertising, the development of mobile applications, website design, which was there before, and we have re-included it, The acquisition of new machinery and process improvement technologies is very important for right now in this present context, if you are to improve your competitive advantage, or if you are to gain in productivity. Accounting software, ERPs, anti-pollution, green and energy conservation, water treatment mechanisms. So this is the second major scheme that we're offering, and I can tell you that approximately 52% of all applications that we have received so far fall in this category. The next one is the SME Marketing and Support Scheme, testing for compliance by laboratories, online presence on international selling platform, eBay, Amazon, and you choose it, costs related to development of e-catalogs. This one is very important. Administrative costs relating to export consignments and export documentation, because for those who are exporting in small quantities, those fixed costs represent a major part of what you gain as profits. So if SME Mauritius intervenes and reimburses that part, the SME is better off with regards to his profitability. We have export market prospection and market access activities that are not covered by the EDB. We have conferences, seminars, networking events, and training, if ever. And as soon as our borders open and you are able to travel, we will be pleased to listen from you about your plans and help you out there. And we have administrative costs, again, relating to factoring and leasing services. So those who are going for factoring, they have an administrative cost, let's call it, let's say, 12 to 15,000 related to each one of their factoring exercises, and we reimburse SMEs on those administrative costs. Again, in order to reduce the fixed costs that very often plumb your profitability when you are doing small consignments. The last one is inclusiveness and integration. We have spoken about it. The Minister of Finance and Honorable Bola also spoke about it. A very important part going ahead. Two things and two words that come out of it: integration and inclusiveness. In our model of development, in escalation of the way that we are going to escalate our SMEs, it is important that we integrate them. The smaller ones integrating into the medium ones, and the medium ones into the bigger ones. Yes, it is only a seeding capital, it's only the start of it, but what we want you to understand is that SME Mauritius strongly believes that going forward, it would be as important for you to collaborate as anything, because alone might be very often, you will not achieve economies of scale that you should be getting in order to remain competitive. Therefore, we have laid a lot of emphasis on integrating the operations of SMEs, and all SMEs that have an established business with another SME gets reimbursed up to a sum of 100,000 rupees. All this to encourage you to work together, to develop market strategies together. And the smaller ones, especially the 40,000 or so of SMEs, mainly the women and young people who today are feeding their families, who are a very important part of our SME landscape, who are not going to government for social support, but they are working very hard, feeding their families, getting their children educated. We want to be part of that, and we want to reward them for that. Therefore, integration and inclusiveness is a key project for us, and we are encouraging SMEs to move ahead together wherever possible. Of course, you will keep your individual entities for yourselves, but there are certain things that you can do together and you can do it better. So the last one, is the Utility Connection Assistance Scheme, mostly for agriculture. Very often what happens is that those who are going to agricultural products have a hefty quotation from CB or CWA to connect themselves with the mains or the electricity supplies. Therefore, SME Mauritius happily joins in to give you help up to 150,000 rupees in order for you to get yourself connected with utilities and mains. So these are the 5 schemes. What is most important, and before I finish, I'll take only one more minute. It's true that I presented it as one scheme after the other, but the way you have to read it is as a continuum. It is a replication of your value chain, which starts with internal capabilities, moves to the market, and moves to support. And the support part comes from technology. Therefore, our schemes is really a menu. It is a menu that unfurls vertically. You can choose vertically, whatever you want to choose, and you can choose horizontally across the schemes. Why did we do it like that? It's because it would have been extremely difficult for us to come to the majority of SMEs over here and the numbers that you have outside and assess their individual cases. And there is no one size fits all. If we want to be effective, if we want to be efficient in the application of the resources that are given to us, we have to ensure that we apply it efficiently. And one way of doing it is to allow you to choose from the menu, vertically and horizontally, what best suits your requirements with the help of officers of SME Mauritius. And from there, we move to providing the solutions. This allows us to tap a larger number. This allows us to bring more fairness. It allows us to customize our products to the needs of SMEs. This is by and large my presentation on the schemes. I hope not only you and representatives of SMEs over here take the message and carry it to other SMEs. And this is the part that we wish to play in the building of sustainability in SMEs and in the SME sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Rampersad, CEO of SME Mauritius Ltd, who discussed about supporting and mentoring